Now we're about to, I guess in about 2 minutes, we're going to dive into the next version of our NFL draft focus, but wanted to give you a couple of Cowboys coaching updates.
Update!
The team has hired Derek Ainsley and Ryan Smith as defensive assistants. Ainsley will serve as the defensive backs coach / defensive pass game coordinator, while Smith will be the team's secondary coach. Also, Marcus Dixon was in town on Friday.
I think Ainsley is Billy Bob and Tommy Norris's daughter.
No, that is a different Ainsley, and it's Landman.
Gotcha.
It's not Landham, Texas. And Marcus Dixon was in town on Friday for an in-person interview, and then Eric Henderson, the USC run game coordinator, and Denzel Martin, the Steelers outside linebacker coach, they have also gone through their interviews. So there is an update on where kind of the defensive position coaches and interviews stand.
Just taking a look at these fellas a little bit, Kevin, there's some youth in this.
There is.
In this movement, and I wonder how much of that is fresh ideas, guys they feel like they can build and work with for a while. You know, where these guys, this is Choppy's biggest concern is, will I lose the coach in the first year? And you might. You're going to lose the staff. Jerry told us that at the end of the year. Aren't we glad we're not getting a new head coach? I mean, you're going to lose coordinators.
Can you imagine what that would be like?
But this seems like, I feels like Christian Parker kind of, as he was going along, was making little notes on people he'd like to work with, or had good ideas on the people that he wanted on his staff as far as the way that they approach everything.
Yeah.
And he gave that approach to Schottenheimer. Probably the best move is the rest of the staff that you already have in place. Guys, who have y'all worked with that's like this? And this is somebody, I want to go interview them, get to know them, and see if we can hire some dudes that can really get this thing rolling quickly.
Yeah, and I'm excited about just the concept of your staff growing together. I think that is a good thing. Absolutely. Now, can you go ahead and give me cut number 8? Because today the focus will be on this fine gentleman.
Fence into the air on first down, in trouble, and sacked. Our Mason Thomas takes him down for a loss of 5 on the play.
R. Mason Thomas.
Not our.
The letter R.
Yep. Now, for anybody that wants to know what exactly that R stands for,
I do kind of want to know that.
It is to honor a family tradition of R names without actually being named Richard or Raymond. Very similar to my middle name, which is just the letter J. It's not J period, it's just the letter J. Being said, on the birth certificate, they had to put a period. I don't know. They said we can't do it this way, and I was like, just fix it. They didn't. So it's just my family. They didn't. This is dumb. They didn't want to choose between Joe and Joseph. And I was like, that's the same. And they were like, no, we have an Uncle Joe and an Uncle Joseph. So we just said with the letter J. That's my dad's middle name, my middle name, and Avery's middle name. So very similar in that situation. They said, hey, we want to keep going with first names that start with R.
Okay.
So we went with the letter R and Mason. So that's how that works.
I learned today.
For the future, Kevin, when you want to have that conversation with somebody. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty on this. This is a defensive end edge that I think would fit best in a 3-4 defense. Alec, did you, just because of size, he's 6'2", 249, and I think in most defenses now are hybrid-y. And you're gonna see those situations where that edge can move over, that linebacker can move into that spot and be an extra defensive end if you need, or
it feels
whatever.
Like base defense is a misnomer.
It is, yeah. It's not. Look, our base is we threw you out there, and then what's the disguise from there, and how do you do it? And this guy fits in perfectly as a pass rush specialist. I have concerns at stopping the run. I don't have concerns about chasing down running backs, though. He has the speed to go get somebody. At the moment, Alec, I feel like we already have his body type in Azaraku, but there are lots of quality things that I do like about the player.
Yeah, you line him up in an odd front where he can line up wide, and you might have yourself a pass rusher here. He's pretty good at that. But like you said, a little bit undersized. He will get bullied in some of those pass rush scenarios. Like the game that comes to mind is, I'm sorry, Corey, but the loss to Texas.
Yeah.
He got pushed around pretty good in that game. If you want to see the deficiencies and understand that he does need to fit in a system that is primarily odd-fronted, that's the game that proves it all. He'll get hung up on some base blocks and stuff like that. But you talk about the athleticism, he might be the quickest guy in your front seven.
Yeah.
On any team in the league, he might be the quickest guy. Oh. I wrote down Fast and Furious Vin Diesel because he is always on go mode. He's stuck in the highest gear possible. He's always at the red line.
Very into family.
Yes, very big family man, as you could tell by the R Mason.
Actually, that does kind of make sense.
See, so maybe he just needs to be an actor in a second life. But no, he's actually a pretty good football player.
You talk about speed.
Yes.
The first thing that I think that stands out with his speed is how quick he gets out of his stance.
Yeah.
He comes off the line firing. And Kevin, Alec, that's one of the things that this team has missed a lot, especially in the pass rush for them, is their ability to get off the snap. And we talk about Mozzie Smith a lot. That's why he didn't make it. He wasn't coming off quickly. There have been plenty of guys you've seen come into this thing that just aren't firing off the ball. This dude right here, you do not have to worry about it. Elite level off the ball.
Okay. That is a complex breakdown of somebody who has a lot of positives, but then I look at the tape, especially against higher caliber opponents, and you're like, no, yeah, there's a couple of rough goes for him.
I think also, Alec, because of his speed, because of how fast he can be, a lot of offensive tackles get kind of confused on what is coming, because you're going to set your feet and start going, all right, I'm getting ready to move and shuffle on this guy because he's going to go wide outside and then bend in real quick. And then he says, you know what, screw that, I'm powering right through you. And he has the ability to power into you, and he gets you off balance that way. That's one of the real big positives, is he'll get you off balance as a tackle. You'll start stepping out, and then he's coming into your chest, and you're like, oh crap, what? I thought I was going outside for this, and now he's powered over me. So he has the ability to go with both of those. He has speed rush, he has power rush, and he mixes them up really well, and that's something that I really like about him. You don't run away from him very often. His pad level always seems to be low. He doesn't play high. He's fourth, I believe, on most of the things that I've seen when it comes to where he'll be drafted as far as defensive end edge guys.
In terms of 1, 2, 3, 4, not fourth.
Yeah, it would be Bain, and then Keldrick would be second, I believe, and then the guy that I'm really interested in looking at next would be Cassius Howell out of A&M. I don't know how much. I just watched one game where he just was talking so much smack to the people across from him. I was like, I got to get that guy. But he's not one of those guys that's going to get lost in the running game. He's disciplined in that, but I don't think he's going to powerfully take over when it comes to stopping the run. I wish I could make him a linebacker. Bigger tackles, they're going to swallow him up. Sometimes they'll jam him up if they can catch up with what his move is going to be. But other than that, this dude played on an exceptional defense at an exceptionally high level.
Based on where you guys were just talking about the theoretical positional rankings, does that make him a late first, early second round? Is that kind of the vibe right now?
Yeah.
Which I know sometimes can be defeating because you have 2.5 months till the draft.
Yeah, I would probably, late first, early second is probably exactly where he's going to go because there are a few other really, quality-sized dudes already in that spot, and Bain being the first one that's probably going to go off the board. I think what's really great here is we talked about Messidor last week. We talked about Thomas here. You have options later down the road. Obviously, at 20, you have options there depending on what you want to do. And we've tried to figure out some trades if you weren't able to get Caleb Downs that would put you in position to pick up an extra player like this.
And there you go. You know exactly what I want to do. I think you should consider at both of those spots the possibility of picking up extra ammunition. Maybe not for this player, but for some other player.
Was there anything else on Thomas, Alec, that you were hot on?
I don't see this necessarily as a skill. It's just kind of like an intangible that he has that it's kind of hard to explain, but once you watch him a little bit, you'll notice is that what's the goal of an offensive lineman, especially a tackle? They want to change your angle. Mm-hmm. That's what they're trying to do. They're hoping that you expose your chest a little bit so they can push you off balance and change your angle to the quarterback or to the running back. His recovery from awkward angles is something that stands out to me because of that athleticism. You hear the words like twitch and bend and stuff, and you're like, okay, it sounds cool, but what does that actually mean? Whenever he gets shoved off of his route, he is quick enough and athletic enough to make a new path to the quarterback that could still, it might not result in a sack or a tackle for loss, but he can put a pressure. He can disrupt a progression in the quarterback's reads.
Does that not seem like a huge, real NFL implication? Because, some of these drills they run, I'm like, hey, that's great. But, that feels like a real thing that would really happen in game.
Yes, and it happens a lot, and that's something that you can't really teach. That's why I said I don't really see it as a skill. I see it as something that he just has within his football IQ because he will find new routes, and NFL offensive linemen, like Corey said, especially bigger tackles, are going to push him around. He has the speed and that burst to say, I don't care where you push me, I'm still going to end up in the pocket somehow.
Let me ask you, from what you saw this year, obviously Bobby lost his hair because of it. Bobby, this morning, if you didn't, it's on Twitter. You can see it.
It was tremendous.
He had to shave his head, which I didn't think was too bad of a bet for him. It looks fine.
You think it would have been much worse if they just shaved the stripe down?
My dad texted me and he was like, they should have given him the bozo cut. And because my dad thinks that's hilarious, and I do too. The bozo.
Bobby seems to think it's the worst thing that's ever happened.
It looks great.
Did you see when he left? Not only did he have a hat on, he had his hoodie pulled over up in case his hat fell off.
He wanted more neck hair to show, and I'm like, why, dude? It looks really good the way that it is. But so Bobby lost his hair because of Donovan Ezeraku, who did not get the requisite sacks,
right?
Which I warned everybody about before the season. Everybody was like, oh, it's got to be this or that. I was like, dude, you're not replacing it that quickly.
Yeah.
Now, next year, let's have some fun with that next year on him. But I look at these two, and I used his name earlier. I went to go look. Donovan Ezeraku, 6'2", 248. R. Mason Thomas, 6'2", 249.
And, of course, the discussion that we've had time and again, only a rookie, is that he can get pushed out.
So my question is, do you want two of those dudes opposite each other or one backing up the other with that high of a pick? Where you're at 20 probably to get the player.
But let's even say you trade it back into the high second round. You definitely, I'll just speak for me. It feels like you would definitely not want both the exact same type of edges that could potentially run into that. And then you're not wanting to draft a guy in the beginning of the second round that you're like, you know what? He's going to be a hell of a backup.
My thing, Alec, is I feel like if you have two interchangeable dudes that are good at everything, that are really high level at everything, then you go for it. You say, yeah, I'll absolutely take another guy like that. We'll just put him on one side, put the other on the other side. But what we have is, I feel like it's kind of two specialists that are limited in some other areas, and you decided as a team you wanted to be better stopping the run. And I feel like this would be the kind of thing that might limit that just a little bit. Dude is a fantastic player, absolute beast. But I have some question marks on whether or not you want both of those on your opposite edges or backing up each other with that high of a draft pick.
I absolutely think that they would take Keldrick Falk, like somebody of that kind of stature, like a bigger, more physical player.
That makes sense.
If they were both available at the same time, if you stayed at 20, even if you moved back and they somehow were both still there, it would be Falk every single time. I think that would be my pick, but I think the team would say, maybe too much of a good thing does exist. Let's switch it up a little bit and get a more power archetype in.
A bunch of texts coming in. Ben Roberts, they want us to look at out of Tech. David Bailey and Grace Halton. So we'll put those names on the list too.
Would you consider Colton Hood as well? That is somebody that
he made some moves during Senior Bowl this weekend. So yeah, absolutely.
All right, perfect. And then just real quick, going back to something that Alec just said, are you guys pretty jazzed up about Falk right now then? I know we got
I got really, really amped up about Messidor. And I know people are concerned about some of the injuries, like tearing ligaments in both feet, always a bit of a concern.
Yeah.
But I just loved his style of play. I like Falk. I think he's good. I think he's going to be good. He's going to be a quality player. I wonder what next level is for him. I think his floor is high. I don't know where his ceiling goes from there, but I think that's obviously comes down to who's coaching him and what they can squeeze out of the player. I really want to watch Cassius Howe. There's something about this guy that he has an edge about him that really ramps me up. So, Kevin, that's the player right now that I got to go see it to know that it pairs up with what I think of the player. And somebody said Madams Tucker. We'll check that one out, too.
We're the K&C Masterpiece right here on 105.3 The Fan.